I never thought I'd be the guy posting on a throwaway account, but here I am. My hands are shaking as I type this, and honestly, I feel like my entire life has been a carefully constructed lie. I'm Mark, M32. My wife, Sarah, F28, is currently downstairs making tea, but I can hear her crying. We've been married for 4 years, and she has been the only rock in my life while I dealt with the absolute circus that is my family. To understand the explosion that happened tonight, you need to understand the players. There's my mother, Evelyn. Think of every "just no Mills" story you've ever read, then dial the narcissism up to 11. She's the kind of woman who wears white to other people's weddings and manages to have a medical emergency every time the spotlight isn't on her. Then there's my sister, Chloe, F28. She's the golden child. She's always been fragile, artistic, and finding herself. Translated from narcissist speak, that means she's never held a job for more than 3 months, and my parents have bankrolled her entire existence. My dad passed away 2 years ago. He was a quiet man, a CPA who lived for his spreadsheets. He was the buffer. When he died, the buffer disappeared. He left the house to my mom, but he told me, he literally whispered it to me on his deathbed, that I was taken care of. He said there was a trust. He said I wouldn't have to worry about Sarah and our future kids. But when the will was read, nothing. Just a small life insurance payout that barely covered the funeral costs and a few $1,000s for me and Chloe. My mom cried crocodile tears, saying Dad had bad investments and the money just wasn't there anymore. I believed her. I felt guilty for even asking. I stepped up. I paid for Chloe's rent when she couldn't find her muse. I paid for my mom's new roof. I worked 60-hour weeks at the firm while Sarah took extra shifts at the hospital. We put off having a baby because we just couldn't afford the lifestyle my mother insisted we help her maintain. Fast forward to this morning. My mom decided she's downsizing and moving into a luxury senior living condo, which, by the way, costs more per month than my mortgage. She told Sarah and me that if we wanted anything from the old family home, we had to come get it today, or it was going to the junk haulers. The house was a tomb. It smelled like mothballs and betrayal, though I didn't know that yet. While I was in the garage wrestling with old lawn equipment, Sarah went up to the attic. About an hour in, I heard this muffled scream. Not a, "there's a spider" scream. The world is ending scream. I ran up those pull-down stairs so fast I nearly cracked my skull. The attic was boiling hot, dust motes dancing in the dim light. Sarah was sitting on a pile of old quilts, clutching a heavy vintage leather briefcase. My dad's old briefcase. It was tucked behind a false wall in the cedar closet. "Mark," she whispered, her voice trembling, "you need to see this." She didn't just find a few papers. She found the real books. My dad, the CPA, kept a double set of ledgers, one for the official estate and one for the family security trust. My heart dropped into my stomach. I opened the first ledger. My dad hadn't lost the money. At the time of his death, the trust was worth $1.2 million. And here's the kicker. I was the sole beneficiary. It was supposed to be released to me on my 30th birthday, which was 2 years ago. But as I flipped through the pages, I saw the withdrawals. $50,000. Chloe's European recovery trip, August 2024. $120,000. Evelyn's home renovation, October 2024. $15,000. Chloe's gallery opening. It failed in a month. Monthly allowances of $8,000 to my mother. They had forged my signature. My mother had found the trust documents after he died, realized she wasn't the trustee, and somehow, I still don't know how, but I suspect a family friend lawyer. She had been siphoning the money out into a joint account she shared with Chloe. There were letters, too. Post-it notes in my mother's loopy, elegant handwriting. One of them, stuck to a bank statement from last month, read, "Make sure Mark doesn't see the mail today. He's getting too curious about the missing inheritance. If he asks again, tell him the taxes ate it. Chloe, stop spending so much on Gucci or he'll notice." I felt like I couldn't breathe. The air in the attic felt like it was being sucked out of the room. Every time I had skipped a meal to save money, every time Sarah cried because we had to postpone our anniversary dinner to pay for Chloe's emergency car repair, my mother and sister were literally living off my blood, sweat, and my father's dying wish. They've spent nearly $400,000 of it in 2 years. I sat there on the dusty floor looking at Sarah. She was holding a receipt for a $12,000 designer handbag Chloe bought last Christmas. The same Christmas Chloe told me she couldn't afford to buy us a gift and asked me to pay for her flight home. I think I went into shock. I didn't yell, I didn't cry. I just started taking pictures of everything. Every ledger, every forged signature, every smug little post-it note. Then, the doorbell rang. It was my mother. She'd come by to check on our progress. I descended those attic stairs like a man walking to the gallows. I could see her through the glass of the front door, wearing a cashmere coat I now know I paid for, checking her reflection in her compact. She looked happy. She looked wealthy. Sarah followed me down, her face pale, holding the briefcase behind her back. "Oh, Mark, you're still here?" My mother chirped as she walked in, not even waiting for me to open the door. "I hope you haven't been keeping any of that old junk. It's so cluttered. Did you find those old silver spoons I mentioned?" I just looked at her. "I found the trust, Mom." The color didn't just leave her face. It was like her soul exited her body. She froze. Her hand went to her throat, that classic dramatic gesture she uses when she's about to play the victim. I don't know what you're talking about, darling," she stammered. "The trust was settled. The money was gone." "We found the ledger, Evelyn," Sarah said, stepping forward. Her voice was cold. I'd never heard her sound like that. "We found the forged signatures. We found the notes about Chloe's Gucci bags." My mother's eyes darted to the briefcase. For a second, I saw it. The mask slipped. The sweet, grieving widow disappeared, and this creature took its place. "You had no right to go through my things," she shrieked. "That money was meant for this family. Your father was a fool to think you should have it all. Chloe needs help. You're successful, Mark. You have a career. Chloe has nothing. I was just balancing the scales." "By stealing from me?" I asked. My voice was a whisper, but it felt like a roar. "By lying to me for 2 years while I struggled to keep your roof over your head. By letting me think Dad didn't care about my future. I am your mother," she screamed. "I gave you life. You owe me everything." At that moment, Chloe walked in. She was carrying a latte and wearing those $500 sunglasses. She saw the briefcase, saw my face, and then saw Mom hyperventilating. "Ugh, what's going on?" Chloe complained. "Mark, are you upsetting Mom again? You know her heart is delicate." I didn't even speak to her. I just walked past them, grabbed Sarah's hand and headed for the car. Mark, come back here!" My mother was yelling from the porch. "If you do anything with those papers, you are dead to this family. Do you hear me? You'll be a traitor. You'll be the reason your sister is homeless." I didn't look back. I got into the car, locked the doors, and drove. We're at a hotel now. I can't go home. My phone is blowing up. My mother is leaving voicemails oscillating between sobbing pleas for forgiveness and screaming threats that she'll tell the whole family I'm abusing her. Chloe is texting me that I'm a selfish prick and that she's having a panic attack because of the bad vibes I've created. My lawyer's office opens at 9 a.m. I'm sitting here looking at a picture of my dad. I think he knew. I think he knew she'd try this, which is why he hid the real books in the attic. He gave me the map. I just had to find it. I feel sick. I feel empty. But mostly, I feel ready. I'm going to ruin them. I'm going to take back every cent, even if it means my mother spends her senior living years in a prison cell. Time passed since last post. 48 hours. I haven't slept. Every time I close my eyes, I see my father's face on his deathbed. I keep replaying that moment over and over in my head. Him clutching my hand, his breath rattling, whispering, "It's all there, Mark. I made sure. Take care of Sarah. Don't let them take it." I thought he was delirious. I thought he was talking about his love or his legacy. I never realized he was literally warning me about the 2 vultures sitting in the hospital waiting room eating overpriced vending machine sandwiches. Yesterday morning, Sarah and I met with a forensic accountant and a high-stakes estate lawyer. Let's call the lawyer Mr. Miller. He's a shark. He's the kind of guy who looks like he eats mahogany for breakfast. When I laid out the briefcase, the ledgers, and the photos of the post-it notes on his desk, he didn't even blink. He just put on his glasses, flipped through 3 pages, and said, "Mr. Anderson, this isn't just a civil dispute. This is systemic, multi-year grand larceny and identity theft." We spent 6 hours in that office. 6 hours of watching a professional dismantle my family. It turns out it's worse than I thought. My mother didn't just find the trust. She had help. Remember I mentioned a family friend lawyer? His name is Jim, Uncle Jim. He's been my dad's golfing buddy for 30 years. He was the one who notarized the amendments to the trust. He was the one who helped my mother shift the funds into a family management account that I wasn't supposed to know existed. Miller looked me straight in the eye and said, "We're not just going after your mother and sister. We're going after Jim's license. We're going after his firm's insurance. This is a conspiracy." When we got back to the hotel, the flying monkeys had already started circling. For those who don't know the term, it's Reddit speak for the people a narcissist sends to do their dirty work. My phone started buzzing. It was my Aunt Brenda, my mom's sister. "Mark, how could you? Your mother is in the ER. She's had a stress-induced cardiac event because of your cruelty. You found a few papers and now you're threatening to throw your own flesh and blood in jail? It's just money, Mark. Family is forever." I stayed calm. I actually surprised myself. "Aunt Brenda," I said, "did Mom tell you she forged my signature on 24 separate bank documents? Did she tell you she spent the money Dad saved for my future children on Chloe's designer shoes and a luxury condo?" There was a silence on the other end. Then, "Well, Chloe was struggling. You've always been the strong one, Mark. You don't need the help like she does. Stop being so greedy. If your mother dies of a heart attack, her blood is on your hands." I hung up. I didn't even argue. I just blocked her. Then I blocked my cousin. Then I blocked my mother's best friend from the country club. But then came the text from Chloe. These were the ones that really twisted the knife. "Mark, please. Mom is really sick. She's crying and saying you're going to make us homeless. I'm sorry I bought the bags, okay? I'll give them back. I'll sell them on Poshmark. Just don't call the police. You're ruining my life over a stupid bank account. Dad would be so disappointed in you for being so vengeful. He loved us. He wanted us to be happy. Why can't you just let it go?" Let it go. I looked at Sarah. She was sitting on the edge of the hotel bed looking at our bank balance. We have $1,400 in our savings right now because we just paid for my mother's property taxes last month. We've been living like paupers while they've been living like royalty on my dime. I felt this coldness settle over me. It wasn't sadness anymore. It was pure, unadulterated resolve. I messaged Chloe back one last time. "I'm not the one who ruined your life, Chloe. You and Mom did that when you decided that stealing from me was easier than getting a job. Tell Mom to save her heart attack for the judge. I'm not coming to the hospital. I'm going to the district attorney." Half an hour later, my mother miraculously recovered and checked herself out of the hospital. Surprise, surprise. She drove straight to our house. We weren't there, obviously, but our Ring camera caught everything. I watched the footage on my phone, sitting in the dark hotel room with Sarah. It was chilling. My mother wasn't frail or grieving. She was pounding on our front door, screaming like a banshee. "Mark, open this door. Give me that briefcase. You have no idea what you're doing. I am your mother. I will destroy you before I let you take my home." Chloe was standing behind her, looking bored, scrolling on her phone. Every few seconds she'd chime in, "Yeah, Mark, stop being a literal psycho. This is so embarrassing for me." Then, my mother did something that changed everything. She saw the Ring camera. She stared right into the lens, her face twisted in rage. "I know you're watching, you little coward. I burned the rest of the files in the backyard incinerator this afternoon. You have nothing but that briefcase, and Jim says your word against mine won't hold up in court. Give it up, or I'll tell everyone you hit me. I'll make sure the world knows what kind of son you really are." Sarah gasped. I just smiled. "She didn't know," I whispered to Sarah. "Didn't know what?" "She didn't know that Dad didn't just keep ledgers. He kept a digital backup. He hid a flash drive inside the lining of that leather briefcase. I found it while I was waiting for the lawyer this morning. My dad was a CPA. He knew exactly who he was married to. He knew exactly what she was capable of. The briefcase Sarah found wasn't the evidence. It was the bait. The flash drive contained scanned copies of every single check, every forged signature, and a secret recording my dad made of my mother 3 weeks before he died, where she was screaming at him to leave everything to her and Chloe because Mark doesn't need it. I have her on video threatening to file a false police report for domestic abuse. I have her on video admitting to burning evidence. I'm sitting here now, watching the sun come up. I feel like I'm at the beginning of a long, ugly war. But for the first time in 2 years, I don't feel like a failure. I don't feel like I didn't do enough for my family. I'm going to get my life back. Mr. Miller called me 20 minutes ago. The emergency injunction has been filed. My mother's bank accounts, including the one with the trust money, are being frozen as of 8 a.m. today. Chloe is about to find out what it's like to have a declined card at brunch. And Mom? Mom is about to find out that family is forever doesn't apply when you're a felon. I'm going to get some coffee. I need to be awake when the fireworks start. Time passed since last update. 6 weeks. I feel like I've aged 10 years in 6 weeks. If you told me 2 months ago that I'd be sitting in a police precinct giving a statement against my own mother while my sister screamed obscenities at me from the hallway, I would have laughed in your face. But here we are. The golden child has lost her luster, and the Queen Mother's throne is officially a folding chair in an interrogation room. The last 6 weeks have been a calculated, legal, scorched earth campaign. Mr. Miller didn't play around. Within 48 hours of my last post, the emergency injunction was granted. Every single account tied to my father's name, my mother's name, and Chloe's joint account was frozen solid. I didn't see the immediate fallout, but I heard it. Oh boy, did I hear it. Imagine a pair of parasites that have been feeding on a host for 2 years. Suddenly, the host is gone. They started starving within 48 hours. Chloe called me 30 times in one afternoon. I finally picked up, not to talk, but because Miller told me to record any further harassment. "Mark, you absolute sociopath," she was screaming. I could hear her crying, but it was that fake performative crying she does when she's not getting her way. I'm at the grocery store. My card declined for a $200 order of organic kombucha and face masks. People are looking at me. Do you have any idea how humiliating this is? Get a job, Chloe, I said. I didn't even raise my voice. A job? I'm an artist. I have an exhibition next month. With what money? I asked. The money you stole from me? The money Dad meant for my house? For my children? It's over, Chloe. Tell Mom the lawyers are coming for the condo next. I hung up. But it wasn't just the money. The Uncle Jim situation blew wide open. It turns out Jim hadn't just helped them with the trust. He'd been skimming off the top himself as a management fee. When Miller's team started digging into the firm's records, Jim panicked. He tried to reach out to me to settle this like men over a drink. I told him the only thing we'd be sharing was a courtroom. The climax, the absolute explosion, happened last Tuesday. My mother had been served with an eviction notice for the luxury condo because the deposit she put down turned out to be a forged cashier's check drawn against the frozen trust. She was desperate. She was cornered. And a cornered narcissist is a dangerous thing. Sarah and I were at our house, finally feeling like we could breathe again. We'd changed the locks, installed a high-end security system, and had a restraining order in process. Around 9 p.m., the alarm on our backsliding door started blaring. I looked at the monitor. It was my mother. She wasn't alone. She had Chloe with her, and they were trying to smash the glass with a garden gnome from our porch. They were literally trying to break into my home to find the flash drive. "Where is it, Mark?" My mother was screaming. She looked unhinged. Her hair was a mess. Her expensive coat was stained. "I know you have the digital copies. If you delete them, we can fix this. We can tell the bank it was a mistake." "Go away, Evelyn," I yelled through the door. "The police are already on their way." "You wouldn't," Chloe shrieked, kicking the door. "You're our brother. You're supposed to take care of us." That was it. That was the phrase that broke me. I opened the door, just a crack with the security chain on. "Take care of you? I've been taking care of you since I was 16. I worked through college while you went to parties. I paid for your emergencies while I ate ramen. I gave you everything. And you still decided to steal the one thing my father left specifically for me. He loved me more," my mother hissed, her face inches from the crack in the door. "He only gave you that money because he knew you were too weak to make your own way. He knew I'd be the one to use it properly." Then the sirens started. Blue and red lights flooded the driveway. My mother tried to run. Can you believe that? A 60-year-old woman in pearls tried to hop a fence. She didn't make it far. Watching the police handcuff my mother was... it was the most hollow feeling in the world. There was no victory. There was just this deep, echoing sadness that it had come to this. Chloe was hysterical, screaming about police brutality because an officer told her to sit on the curb and stop interfering. "He's my brother. He's doing this because he hates women." Chloe was yelling to the neighbors who had all come out onto their porches. "He's a narcissist. He's gaslighting the police." One of the officers, a veteran who looked like he'd seen it all, walked over to me. "Mr. Anderson?" he asked. "We have the warrant for the arrest regarding the identity theft and the violation of the temporary restraining order. Do you want to press charges for the attempted break-in as well?" I looked at Sarah. She was shaking, but she nodded. "Yes," I said. "Press everything. Don't leave a single stone unturned." As they were being led to the patrol cars, my mother turned back. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. She just looked at me with this pure, distilled hatred. "I hope you're happy, Mark. You've officially killed this family. You're no son of mine." The next morning, Miller called. Uncle Jim had been arrested at his office. Facing 20 years for fraud and embezzlement, he'd folded like a lawn chair. He gave up everything. He provided the emails where my mother coached him on how to forge my signature. He provided the bank routing numbers where the hush money was sent. The golden child was found with 3 grams of cocaine in her purse during the arrest processing, adding a possession charge to her list of problems. They are currently out on bail, but they have nothing. The condo is gone. The cars, which were leased in my name without my knowledge, have been repossessed. They are currently staying in a dingy motel on the edge of town, paid for by Aunt Brenda, who is still texting me that I'm evil for not letting them live in my guest room. Miller says we'll likely get about $600,000 back from the remaining trust and the seizure of my mother's remaining assets. The rest is gone, spent on shoes, trips, and Uncle Jim's fees. But I don't care about the money as much as I thought I would. I'm sitting in my living room tonight. It's quiet. No phone calls, no demands, no guilt trips. Sarah is asleep on the couch, and for the first time in 2 years, her face looks peaceful. It's over. The war is won. Now I just have to figure out how to live in the ruins. Time passed since last update. 18 months. I'm sitting on a rocking chair in a room that smells like lavender and baby powder. It's quiet. The kind of quiet I didn't think existed 3 years ago when I was drowning in my mother's emergencies. To my left, there's a crib where my 6-month-old son Leo is fast asleep. He has my father's nose. Every time I look at him, I feel a pang of sadness that they never met. But then I remember, Dad made sure Leo would be safe. He made sure we had this house. He made sure Sarah didn't have to work double shifts while nursing a newborn. It's been 18 months since the gnome incident, as Sarah and I now call it. People always ask in the comments of these posts, did they actually go to jail? Or did you get the money back? The answer is complicated, but justice, real, cold, legal justice, has a way of taking its time. The legal fallout. My mother, Evelyn, took a plea deal. Mr. Miller was a beast. He had so much evidence that her public defender basically told her she'd be looking at 10 years if she went to a jury. She pleaded guilty to felony identity theft and grand larceny. Because of her age and a lack of a prior record, she didn't get a long-term prison sentence. Instead, she got 3 years of intensive house arrest, followed by 10 years of probation. But here's the kicker. She has no house to be arrested in. The Luxury Condo Association sued her for the forged checks, and the trust recovery suit wiped out every penny she had left. She's currently living in a 1-bedroom apartment in a state-subsidized senior housing complex 2 towns over. Aunt Brenda eventually got tired of paying her bills when she realized my mother was still trying to order out steak dinners on Brenda's credit card. Last I heard, they aren't speaking. Uncle Jim didn't fare as well. He was the mastermind. He was disbarred, obviously, but he's currently serving 4 years in a minimum security facility. His firm was liquidated to pay back the victims he'd been skimming from for decades. I was just the tip of the iceberg for him. The golden child's descent. Chloe is a different story. She didn't get jail time for the fraud. She convinced the court she was manipulated by our mother. But the drug possession and the violation of the restraining order landed her in a mandatory 18-month rehabilitation and work release program. I saw her once, about 6 months ago. I was leaving the grocery store and she was there, wearing a fluorescent vest, picking up trash on the side of the road as part of her community service. The golden child was holding a plastic grabber and a bag of wet newspapers. She saw me. She froze. I expected her to scream or cry or call me a sociopath again. but she just looked empty. No designer glasses, no expensive latte, just a girl who realized her muse was actually just my father's bank account. I didn't stop. I didn't wave. I just got in my car and drove home to my wife. The restoration. We recovered approximately $640,000. It wasn't the full $1.2 million, but after the lawyers were paid and the accounts were settled, it was enough. We bought a modest, beautiful home with a big backyard. We paid off Sarah's nursing school loans. And the rest? It's in a locked, ironclad trust for Leo. A trust that no one, not even me, can touch without 3 levels of independent oversight. I've gone full NC, no contact, with everyone from that side of the family. I blocked their numbers, I changed my email, and I've made it clear to the remaining flying monkeys that any attempt to contact me or Sarah will be met with an immediate police report for harassment. The most healing moment happened about 3 months ago. I was cleaning out the secret compartment of that old leather briefcase, the one Sarah found in the attic. Deep in the lining, I found a small, handwritten note I'd missed before. It wasn't a bank statement. It wasn't a ledger. It was a note from my dad, dated just 2 days before his first stroke. It said, "Mark, if you're reading this, you found the truth. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you from them while I was alive. I was tired, son, but I won't let them take your future. Use this to build a life full of the honesty they never had. Tell Sarah I'm proud she's an Anderson. Be the man I know you are. I love you." I cried for 2 hours. I think that was the moment I finally stopped feeling guilty for ruining my family. I didn't ruin them. I just stopped being the person they were allowed to destroy. Moving forward, Sarah is doing amazing. She's back to work part-time, but mostly she's just being the incredible mom I knew she'd be. We're finally planning that anniversary trip we postponed 4 years ago. Not to Europe on a stolen dime, but to a quiet cabin in the woods where there's no cell service and no drama. To anyone reading this who is currently being gaslit by a narcissist parent or a spoiled sibling, trust your gut. If the math doesn't add up, it's because they're stealing the numbers. Don't be afraid to be the bad guy in their story if it means being the hero in your own. I'm going to go pick up Leo now. He's starting to wake up, and he has this habit of grabbing my thumb and not letting go. It's the best feeling in the world. Thanks for listening to my story, Reddit. It kept me sane during the darkest months of my life. Signing off for the last time.